So this episode with Denise, she has a little exercise ninja trick for us that kind of correlates to the lower body as well as upper body. Last episode, we did more of just some neck pain. So I'm very curious to see what you have for us today, Denise.
Oh, awesome, Brad. So today I want to share a ninja trick. I love calling it the ninja trick because when you know the little secret to something, it's just like, ooh, super secret stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, I've seen people head back to the gym and come back the next day after not being in the gym for a while, and they walk really funny for at least 3 or 4 days. You know those people?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I'm one of those people.
Sometimes I just have to go out and do some gardening that I'm not used to because you're reaching and bending and pulling and doing stuff differently than you normally use your body. So you end up getting really sore. So this trick is really, really good at clearing the soreness. So, you know, a lot of times that pain in the muscles, that lactic acid buildup that you trainers warn people about. So you got to do your cool down. And even if you do a cool down, sometimes you still feel stiff and sore. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and then sometimes we'll have our clients do the little massage rollers too, especially since they're coming back because they know they'll feel this soreness a lot more than had they been coming, more consistently. So
right, and so even when you're fairly fit and you do something different, sometimes you wake up muscles you forgot you owned.
Yeah.
And so this trick is really good for clearing the discomfort you get after exercise because who wants to exercise if it's going to hurt all the time? Right? If every single time you exercise and you do your best to cool down, you do your warm up, you do your cool down, and you're still really sore and you're walking funny for 3 days, sometimes compliance goes down a little bit, right? People don't want to work as hard because they know it's going to hurt, but it doesn't have to. So guess what? This trick is also awesome for strengthening your general body muscles.
Okay.
I had a middle-aged guy. He was really wonderful. And I said, oh my gosh, you're walking really weird today. What's up with you? So he admitted to this problem. This is the next time you go to the gym, switch on your muscles first. He's going, what? I says, that's our gig here at Muscle Tuners. Switch on your muscles first so that you get better productivity from your workout. And he says, well, I know what you do kind of works because you've helped me in the past. So he says, look, you don't have to do it in the gym because you might feel embarrassed, but definitely do it at home before you go to the gym because you're only 15-minute drive away, or go to the restroom and just do this in the restroom, or just do it in the gym because I know you're kind of like, you're okay with stuff, but depending what your comfort level is, just do it and then go do your workout and see what happens. And then at the end of your workout, do it again. And make sure you do it. It's better if you do it within the hour of your workout ending. So you don't have to do it right away, but it's really good to do it the hour after. And if you forget, do it the next day. When you're going, and you're walking really funny, do it then. And then I cannot tell you how many times I've purposely tested this out. I haven't done this activation. And I'm sore the next day, even when I'm, feeling I'm pretty fit with what the activity level of the day. I'm still feeling sore, and sometimes I feel really sore, so I do it, and I can't tell you, Brad, this discomfort goes away. I just forget about it, and an hour later I realize, hey, I'm getting up from my desk, I'm walking around, I'm not walking funny.
So is this is like a ninja trick for the full body? I know you can do stuff to really focus on specific muscles like you've had in some other stories. So this is just a good one to just a baseline for whole body.
This is just a general wake-up call to your upper body and wake-up call to your lower body before you exercise and then after you exercise. Okay, so I know everybody wants to see this. Hurry up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so rotator muscles and stuff, a lot of them are in here. You feel this crease when you move your arm like so, when you bring it forward. Do you feel that crease?
Yep.
So just take your fingertips and give a rub in there. That's right, you're doing it perfect. Just make sure it's fairly firm but not painful, and you'd want to activate that whole zone right in the whole front of your shoulder. And sometimes some people like to use the side of their finger up and down, or sometimes just their fingertips. You want to do that for at least 15 seconds. All right? Okay. So did you have any pain in your body today, Brad, that you noticed? Any discomfort from any recent workouts?
No, I'm still on my rehab from my last back surgery. And just yesterday, and I was doing pretty good with my rehab and what the doctor's orders were, but just yesterday I started doing dishes, which I'm not supposed to do for like 8 weeks because of all the repetitive,
Bending.
very
Forward, yeah.
slight bendings and everything. But I just did it to help out, and now today, just a hot mess. So my leg is going numb, and I'm having to call the doctor to get a steroid pack just to get me going so I can go to work tomorrow.
Well, you'll have to let me know if this little trick helps at all for that. This might work. So I noticed you switched over and did the other arm. So I hope the listeners who are not driving or anything are able to follow along. So the next one is, Brad, let's just imagine you're wearing a bra, okay?
Okay.
If you were wearing a bra, where would the underwire bottom part of the bra hit your chest?
Right.
Perfect, right there. So you put the knife edge of your hand like that, and you activate, just rubbing across right there. It's literally between the 5th and 6th intercostal spaces, if a person wanted to be really, really precise. And you want to rub all the way from the center where the ribs meet there. You want to come all the way out to the side like so. So you might have to switch over, use your knuckles, and do whatever you got to do. Now, is that sore at all?
No, if you go over the full length and back, my t-shirt ends up kind of rubbing it raw. So I'm kind of doing it in sections. Is that okay?
Perfect. Yeah. Sections works. Okay. So you activate those also for about 15 seconds each.
Okay.
Now, these are really good for pecs. So if you're going to do chest presses and you want to be able to squeak on a few more pounds, do this before you put some more plates on the bar. All right. So those ones are done. Now let's move to the lower body. Fun story to interject. Every once in a while, I rarely go skiing, but I want to make every run count, and I'd get tired because I don't do a lot of skiing. So I would jam my ski poles under my thigh as I'm going up the chairlift. I'd unzip my coat, and this is what I do. Under your ribs where they meet right there.
Okay.
Don't rub on the ribs. Go underneath the ribs. Follow the ribs all the way to your side seam. Okay, and again, you can use the sides of your baby finger side, kind of, if you want to rub that.
Okay, that's what you call the knife edge.
Yeah, the karate chop.
Karate chop edge. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. And so these are fantastic reflexes for your quadriceps. So if you're a runner, you want to activate these.
And it's a very similar motion that we did with the pecs.
You bet. All you're doing is you're activating some specific reflexes.
Okay.
And these reflexes are literally asking your body to throw more lymph through the tissues and move that lymph in case it got stagnant. Okay? Now, the next ones, you can do sitting down, but I'll stand up so your viewers can see what's going on. The inner thigh, and if you're sitting down, you can do them both at the same time. And the outer thigh. Let me lift the other leg. The outer thigh, all the way from your knee up to your hip.
Okay.
So you can do one leg at a time. Make it kind of efficient. And I hope that's not rubbing and making a sound for your mic.
You're good. Is that more of a massage or just a light brushing?
It's firm.
Firm brush.
Yeah, it's not fluffy. And if it's painful, a lot of people have pain here along the iliotibial band. Mm-hmm. Don't cause pain. You've got to lighten up. Pain is counterproductive to tuning up muscles. So you just give that a really good activation. And if somebody has a tendency to constipation, because these muscles connect to organs, and these are connecting to the large and small intestines. So if you end with a downstroke, it helps if you have constipation to let things release.
Oh.
Okay? So we don't want the other side to be jealous.
There we go.
Activate the other side.
And for our listeners, I will be putting this up on YouTube. This is more of like a teaser podcast, and you're going to want to see the actual motion. So just look it up on YouTube, Over 40 Fitness Hacks.
Here I go. My head's cut off. Whatever. Sorry. I'm not very good for it. If it's going on YouTube, we have to make sure my head is in the pic.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So you're activating that for a good 15 or 20 seconds or longer. But I tell you that it doesn't take very long. All right. Okay. And I like to end on a downstroke because I don't have a problem with the bowels, but I just think it's good to remind them to let go and release.
Yeah.
All right, so that literally is how you do it. So the first ones I showed you were for upper body mostly, and then when I started talking about the skiing story, those are mostly for the lower body.
Under the rib cage.
Yeah, so those will help with the quads, they'll help with the hamstrings, they'll help with the fascia lata along the hip that goes down, attaches to your iliotibial band. So those are just overall generally great reflexes for massive muscles that do a lot of work for you every day.
Yeah.
And do you want to know a little of the science behind it?
Sure.
Okay. A little of the science is there were these characters out there. Have you ever heard of an osteopath?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So osteopaths, they palpate the body and they feel where things are not feeling groovy. And they were discovering there were reflexes they could activate that would make those areas feel better. So they literally could put their hand over the liver and say, it feels kind of hard or enlarged or whatever. And they would find a reflex that they would stimulate. Most of the reflexes are about the size of a loonie. We have loonies in Canada. Let's say a quarter. Okay, yeah. About the size of a quarter. We both have got quarters. And they would activate that, and then they could feel a change in the organ. And then the applied kinesiology guys, chiropractors who are learning to apply muscle testing similar to how the physiotherapists were doing it, they were blending it with these reflexes. So the chiropractors were testing muscles, noticing, hey, some muscles weren't firing right. They would activate a reflex, and the muscle would wake up. How cool is that?
Awesome.
And there was one guy, I'll never forget, the originator of the system. I got to go to a conference and hear him speak. And he says, people thought this was all really scientific. He says, at the beginning, it was all just bloody luck. So, for example, there was this one technique he started figuring out that if you rub the beginning and the ends of some muscles, it would fire that muscle up again, particularly if the person had ever had a strain. So how many people at the gym, you pull something and you feel a little bit of a pull, right? And you go, ouch. And it's not an outright tear of a tendon. You haven't ruptured anything. But you know what? That area is really not happy because the fibers of the muscle, they want to be right up against the bone, but they feel like being pulled away, right? Yep. And so there's these things that are called microavulsions, things pull up off the fascia and the tissue and stuff like that. So it's also, here's a twofer for your audience. If you've got an injury of pain, like let's say your quads hurt, your knees hurt when you're climbing, you're hiking, or something like that. Here's a twofer for you. The muscle attaches here above the kneecap, actually underneath there. So if you want, you just go rubby-dubby all along the beginning and the insertion of a muscle. And you just give it a little rubby-dubby, little circular motions, and then you press the muscle towards where you want it to insert. So across the joint of the knee, do you see here I'm doing a little I like to use friendly language, rubby-dubby, and then you push it down. And at the muscle for the quads, there's 4 bands of the quad, but they start up here on the hip bone, right? The front of this hip bone. So
same
you just
motions.
Go rubby-dubby, you get in there. And if you feel something juicy, like a little lump of Jell-O, poke on it a little bit.
That's kind of like trigger point therapy right there.
A little bit, but different. And then that little lump of Jell-O will usually disappear after a few seconds. And then on the top of the hip, you want to pull the muscle up to anchor the little roots of that muscle up onto the bone. That has rescued me more than once. I've had some tricky knees because I was a little bit, I worked out a little too aggressively in the gym, wanted to impress a fitness trainer, or I showed up late, didn't warm up enough, and I pulled some things around my knees. So I can't tell you how often that has helped get me going so that I could function and go for walks with friends without saying, oh no, I got to stay home.
And usually muscle strains, they only last a week or two, but if you can get rid of them now, I'd rather do that trick to, get myself back in the game faster, because it
Brad,
does happen.
muscle strains appear to get over in a week or two.
Oh yeah.
But they're never actually fully resolved. Your body keeps the memory of those strains. By doing that technique, it helps a lot to say, it's all okay now, baby, even if the problem happened 7 years ago.
That's it. That's not mind-body connection.
It's really, really important, man, because your tissues hold on to memories. They hold on to stress. And if you've ever injured, like turned an ankle, that ankle is not talking to your brain about where you are in space and how your feet are landing on the ground until you fix the muscles that were involved. So get yourself to a therapist, like a massage therapist who knows the origin and insertion of muscles, and say, I want you to do a little rubby-dubby thing and push the ends of the muscles back onto the bones where they belong. A good therapist will know where all the muscles are in the lower leg, and they'll go, who, what? And you'll say, look, this is worth, you should be paying me for this treatment. I've had therapists who have totally fixed shoulders by working with the origin insertion of muscles around the shoulder, completely chronic issues gone by doing that technique.
Yeah. Or find yourself a muscle tuner.
Yes, I would be really
certified muscle tuner.
Either that or study it and call me and I'll teach you how to do it properly. So that's 2 really great tips to have in your back pocket to help you be better at the gym and recover better afterwards.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that'll be great for this episode. Little teaser, and then we'll get on to the next one. For our listeners, how do we find you? Website, social media? What's the best way to contact you?
My email address is Denise, that's DENISE, at Muscle Tuners. That's muscle spelt just how you expect it, MUSCLE, and then tuners, TUNERS.fit, which is a new and different extension. That's the first 3 letters of fitness. And our website, obviously, is muscletuners.fit. Loads of information there. Freebies can be found. We give regular monthly for professionals or any individual. We run monthly webinars. And access to all the content of the types of courses we do and testimonials. And we just love to help. So reach out if you have a challenge. I'm really, really happy to give you some kind of tip that's specific for you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for jumping on our show. And for all our listeners, I'll be putting all those links in the podcast details too as well. So thank you, Denise, for jumping on. And she'll be with me for the next 5 episodes for this season. And hope to see you next time.
Excellent. We invite everybody to be strong, be confident, and be tuned.